Okay, everybody, and I'm going to push the go live button. Here we go. Just, it's kind of redoing something here, so I'm not. Okay. All right, here we go. Looks like it's happening now.
Yeah.
OCM, Great Creator, Wankantonka, Tinkashala, and all those other names we know you as. I call in the directions of the east and the south, the west and the north, the above, the below, the within. And being a water protector, I call in the Minwakona below. And the ancestors that you be with us during our gathering today. Welcome all relations to the circle. Aho.
Aho.
Aho. Maya, do you want to do a little bit of centering or something to ground us before we jump in?
I'd just like to welcome everybody out there who's watching. This is the Four Elements Room. Jim Graywolf Petruzzi and I have been co-hosting this week. So thank you so much, Brock, for calling in the directions. And I'd like us to just take a moment to prepare to share with each other by just either lowering or closing your eyes and just bring your attention to your heart center and begin to very gently breathe in, nourishing the heart center with your breath. I think everyone here is very familiar with this, so just take that moment to enhance the energy field of your heart with the prana, the beautiful life force energy of oxygen, knowing there's also water droplets in every breath, the element that connects us all. And below the heart center, feeling our feet connected to Mother Earth and supported by her steadiness, sending us her beautiful electromagnetic pulse, her heartbeat up through our feet and up to our hearts. And with the in-breath, drawing that beautiful, nourishing earth energy up to our hearts. And then opening our sunroof, our seventh chakra to Father Sky, to the great sun, beautiful rays of light, and to the whole cosmos. And breathing in that light and inspiration down into our heart chakra, our chalice of our heart. And allowing these two beautiful energies, Mother Earth, Father Sky, to blend and spiral in our heart. Finding their own balance. And just imagine as we exhale now that we're also sending out rays 360 degrees around, rays of that balance, of that beautiful heart energy to connect with all the others who may be watching, connecting into us on this Peace Weekend of Convergence. And anchoring in that heart energy. When you're ready, just opening your eyes, seeing who's here today. We never know who's going to show up, and we welcome all those who've gathered. And I just wanted to share this little quote from Charles Dickens before I turn it back over to Jim that sort of describes the times we're living in. And he wrote it that long ago, but it's so true for now. And Charles Dickens said, "It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of darkness. It was the season of light. It was the winter of despair. It was the spring of hope." And we're here to focus on the spring of hope and what we can do to bring this world together in peace.
Aho. Yeah, well said. Could have been writing about now. Okay, so for everybody here with us, we have our friend Darwin from Africa, from Zambia, who is also on with us, and he has to communicate via the message board. So we will relay anything he asks or says. We also now have 11 people on in Pine Ridge with Frank, and 7 of them are young people. He asked for young people who wanted to contribute. So we now have our youth. They're not here with us to be seen physically, but that's okay. And so if I'm going back and forth, forgive me, but I have to go here to see the messages, and then I have to go over here to type them. So yeah, it's a little retrograde technology-wise, but it works. So thank you, Frank. Thank you once again for pulling together a circle to be here with us in a good way. When we finished the first 2 wisdom circles, and we want to recognize everybody who's taken part in these. So those who took part in the first 2, if you're listening, if you see this later, we give you great thanks, because this is a building mechanism. This is going forward. Each one's building on the one before it. So our friends in India, who I know are sound asleep now, we thank you. We'll welcome you in. They'll be doing a program a little later this evening. Our friends from Uruguay, thank you very much. Especially our friends from Wise Humanity, Veronica. They'll be starting a conference Monday or Tuesday, which Charles and I have been asked to be a part of. So we'll be playing some role, and I know we will have a wisdom circle because they've asked for it. They want their youth to be able to connect directly. So that'll be another piece of this. All these things are connected. It doesn't matter what the platform is. And we will let everyone know, of course, when that's happening, and everyone is always invited. Okay, so there's the setup.
I'd also like to thank Amber
Yes,
Bass,
thank you.
young Chumash woman who has a beautiful vision for regenerative education that's cross-generational and so self-sustaining. Beautiful. Thank you, Amber.
Yes, good one. Very good. And there's a bunch of others. I'm sure we've missed some, in which case we apologize, but you know this isn't about ego. You all are appreciated and loved. Why don't we go around the circle, since I think we've got a lot of new listeners as usual, and just do a brief who you are, where you are, why are you here today? We'll keep them short so we can get into the meat of this thing. Okay, I'll start. I'm Jim Gray Wolf. I'm sitting in Pennsylvania right now, but I'm also everywhere. I also feel like I'm sitting next to each one of you at the same time. Why am I here? Because probably I'm too stubborn to give up. So I'll keep going until they put me down. And that's not going to be for a while because we got a lot to do yet. Stick in the middle. Maya, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Maya Shaw Gale, and I'm here in Southern California, Santa Barbara area, in the Carpinteria Creek watershed where it flows into the ocean. And I'm here because, well, my whole life, nature has called me. I felt more deeply bonded with nature and the elements, the plants and the animals than people. I had to learn to become a therapist to learn how to communicate with people better myself. And I was called to the water specifically in 1987 with a very magical heart transmission from the water that taught me that water was an intelligence and was alive and communicating. And that opened me up, of course, more to the other elements too, in that way, understanding they are living beings. So that has been the focus of our week. Jim and I have been looking at how the elements coming into balance and helping the elements come back into balance is so relevant for our intention here, bringing unity and peace and social justice to the world. So that is my commitment. And I'm so grateful to be here and for those of you that have shown up today. Talking staff to the next person.
Why don't you give it to the next person? We'll do it that way.
I'm going to give it to Tanya. I like our younger.
Ah,
Yeah, thank you, Maya. My name is Tanya Wojtaszek. I am in Fort Collins, Colorado. I am so grateful to be here today. Thank you so much for including me. It's always wonderful to be here. I always learn so much in these circles and just, yeah, appreciate to be participating. And this has been really interesting for me as well, because nature and the elements has always been very, very important to me. And I feel like it's always been my sort of happy place when I can be out in nature in any kind of way. It doesn't matter. When I lived on the ocean, it was being out on the ocean. Now I live in the mountains, and the mountains just open my heart every time I look out the window. And especially if I can actually get to be outside. So yeah, with that, I'm going to give the talking stick on to Charles.
Oh, my name is Charles Two Dog. I'm the leader of United Western Lenape Nation here in Kentucky. I've been an activist really since right after John F. Kennedy, to be honest, in 1963. I've been an activist for nature in itself and for human rights and equal rights here since 1967, and social justice for all and equal and unity for the world in general, of speaking to the whole world as we all, no matter who we are, from all the four directions of the earth, is that we are the human being. And these are our relatives, no matter where we are related to each other. So I've been doing that since really 1967. So marched in the Martin Luther King movement, 67 and 68. So I passed this talking stick on to Brock.
Thank you, Charles. Brock Foster. I'm in British Columbia, Canada, on the West Coast, in the unceded territory of the Squamish people, land of the Bigfoot, up here. I've been in intentional community building and permaculture and earth activism for about 10 years now. And that is my goal, is to bring a beautiful community of like-mindeds together. I think it seems to be the most populous goal around the world right now. I'm blessed to be here. I'm totally blessed to recognize and honor the faces that I've met before. And I've sat in this circle in the very beginning before. And I'm just honored to sit in the circle once again. My background is OG Cree. I'm the fourth generation bundle carrier from my clan in Northern Ontario, James Bay. It's called Moose Factory, First Cree. And so I'm a guest. I'm a guest out here on the West Coast in the Coast Salish. And I follow the learnings and the teachings of a slightly different way. And I'm in the lodge almost weekly. And I'm doing what I love. And being here is one of the things I love. And I'm going to call on Nina, but I don't know which one because there's two on the screen. Welcome, Nina.
Hi, yeah, those are both me. So that I can also see my computer. Yeah, I am Nina. I'm from North Carolina, but I grew up in the Philippines. I am here because I'm just open to learning anything, and I particularly saw that this session is about social justice and peacemaking, so I'm really interested in that topic. So just we're grateful to be here to learn anything. So thank you for having me.
I think we might need to mute. Almost everybody was, but you weren't, Jim, when someone speaks. I don't know if that has anything to do with Nina's sound or not.
Could be. So, Makashi and Catherine?
There we go. Off mute. So we are here in northern New Mexico in the Mora Valley and the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, the wettest part of New Mexico in the forest. And we've been together, Makasha and I, for over 45 years, working and married and raising children, and really called to really explore what it means to help birth a new culture, a new earth, as many of us refer to it. What is that that's wanting to emerge here amongst us in the transformation and the upliftment of consciousness. So being in that exploration as family and with conscious birthing and education and health and healing and business and many avenues. So it's great to be here with all of you and really explore together, especially how Gaia Sophia is guiding us every step of the way.
And I'm Makasha, and hi everybody. It's always an honor to be able to connect with kindred spirits. You know, the coming together of love underlying the creative force of our sacred union together. I was picked out of the world of money and prestige in Las Vegas, Nevada. I woke up there 50 years ago and I was told to take your kids out of school. They're shame institutions. Turn off the television. They enculturate your children. So I left Vegas with 3 kids, a pregnant woman, and now we have 8 children. And we're really committed. We got 24 grand and 24 great grand, and we follow the great spirits promptings. We trust at a deep level of coherence that we are being orchestrated by spirit, and the kind of synergy that we're creating together uplifts the noosphere and the surrounding love that carries us on the great wings of the great eagle. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm in my 80s and I'm still going strong. And I started an organization called World Family in 1972, and the motto was nobody had to join because everybody belonged. Mm-hmm. So we belong. Mm-hmm. Aho.
Aho. I'm really glad to see both of you here. And Makasha, I particularly like anybody who can call me young man. So I'm glad you're here. We got a note from Veronica at Wise Humanity. She will try to join us on the second hour. She's really swamped with this conference, but if she can come in for a while, that'll be awesome. And I just wanted to mention as well, wait a minute. Robin Youngblood was not able to make it. We had a nice conversation with her yesterday that we recorded. So if anyone wants to play that later, it is available. She put her thoughts in there. And Daphne Singing Tree was hoping to make it. She's in Oregon. The smoke is so bad, she can barely breathe. She's having bad trouble coughing. If it was a little better today, she was going to try. But we certainly didn't want her to come on with that sort of. And so we hold her in our thoughts and prayers as we go ahead. I know Daphne from Standing Rock, where she taught a bunch of us the Minnie Wakoni, Water is Life song. Very powerful healer, traditional healer. So I think that's the group for today.
Jim, I was
Go ahead.
thinking of starting us off. You know, we have this very loose topic, but we can go wherever our hearts take us about the four elements being out of balance or in balance, and how that relates to our intention to bring social justice and peace to the world. But I was thinking, this is a elders and youth circle, and Nina, you were on our last circle, and I think I'd just like to ask you to begin with, what is on your heart since that circle? What got stirred up for you? What got answered? What are you sitting with after that last circle? And just to start us off, and that's my intuition for you to do that.
Thank you. Yeah, that really touched very deeply in my heart, that circle. Ever since, I mean, all throughout this UpConvergence, I've been in constant reflection. And I've definitely felt so unbalanced this morning, and actually still yesterday, and got some healing just before this session from Dr. Deb about something about using the creative mind to heal yourself instead of the thinking mind. And then going into this session about social justice and four elements, because I definitely felt the four elements unbalanced in me, and I feel like they've been wanting me to heal it. I'm getting this urge to heal and balance. So being in this session really intersects with my personal experience, and that's connected to what's going on in the outer world. So it's very deep for me, in short, in this moment. So what's coming up for me is because I have a friend who's supposed to present and she's from the marginalized community. She was supposed to present last Wednesday and then rescheduled to today, and she wasn't able to because she's part of the under-resourced community, and she's dealing with so many things, especially with regards to accumulated body trauma, you know, from generations, and also from this lifetime that she's been dealing with a lot of systemic injustices, and that just manifesting through her body at this moment. She's not feeling well, and relating that to the four elements, relating that to spiritual awakening, and her repowerment or empowerment. So it's more of like just questions about that, like why is this happening, that people like her don't deserve this, you know, and at the moment like this, what does that mean with rebalancing the four elements? What does that mean in this journey? And learning from the elders from the circle last session, learning a lot of deep wisdom about that, about just the relationship between the elders and the youth. So all of those things just coming all together for me, and it's still kind of like circling around me. So I don't have, so those are what's are coming up for me. I don't really have any like resolution right now, and I would love to open it to everyone. So yeah.
Want to state sort of that question again, like a question too. Here are a circle of elders, and so in that confusion, if there's any question you'd like to open it to in particular.
Yeah, I guess as a question, yeah, I'm feeling like we're in an intersection or a crucifix. I don't know if that's a word, of like expanding the human consciousness right now. So what are like, how do we stay grounded? What are the tools that the youth needs, or even the elders or anyone needs to be able to facilitate this journey, knowing that it is a journey and it is a process. So what is there anything that we can learn, or opportunities or something we can remind ourselves in this process? Because it's nice that we're all coming together in terms of application and our daily life right now, dealing with the social injustices around us, are there any wisdom that we can learn from the elders at this moment, and the youth as well?
Great, thank you for that question. So I open the circle to anyone that's called to respond to Nina.
I'd love to hop in with some different thoughts that are arising. I've been involved in, just had an event here a couple weeks ago, and we had several intergenerational dialogues and fishbowl council and sharing of what does it mean to really build trust between the various generations, to really work together arm in arm, to be sharing our wisdom and dropping into deeper levels of trust. And what we hear from so many youngers is that they don't have elders in their life, and they're really yearning for that. And I think, Jim, you spoke about that as well before we got on the call. And for the elders to have their wisdom drawn forth and be asked the stories, and be asked, just like you're doing, Nina, to share through our life experience. That kind of just being with each other in that deeper trust and love and compassion is so important. So we're not polarizing, and we're not creating the other, but that we're really feeling arm in arm, walking in this way together. And we have a youth organization, Earth Guardians, that we started in Hawaii with our family about 25 years ago. And it's all about empowerment of the voices of the young people. And that it's like the elders standing behind and lifting up. How do we really assist and support the voice of young people really being heard and valued? So.
And part of what we're working on here at Hummingbird, we've been here about 24 years now. We started a Waldorf school. We were really guided to take our kids out of school that they weren't recognized for the inherent wisdom that they carried. And with Earth Guardians, we're now in about 70 countries around the world, working in collaboration with what's emerging in terms of the injustices, and how we're working with transformation at a deep level that is core to, to us as coherence in the pattern that's emerging now. And how do we step in that and unify together in a way that we are supporting each other in the evolution of our species? And yeah, it's a deep exploration as we here at Hummingbird are stepping back, and now our legacy, we put down what we call tracks.
Laying down the tracks.
Laying down the tracks for the young ones that are coming, but still be able to hold a wisdom council so that it stays coherent and doesn't fragment. So there's a lot of deep work there that we're doing here on this 500 acres of beauty, and with permaculture and biodynamic farming, and really teaching hands-on, bringing the voice, but also bringing the return, call it the return back to the earth, to touch into Mama Gaia with reverence and sacredness. So yeah, it's really important.
Beautiful. That's awesome. And we got a couple of things coming in, but for you two, Darwin, who's on with us from Zambia, he is a team leader for Earth Guardians in Zambia.
I love it.
Circles keep connecting.
Yeah, you can tell him that Chutescut is our grandson.
Ah, that's right. I'm sure he heard you. I think he's hearing all right, but it's scattered. And then this is from Will, who's a young man who's one of the people with Frank up on Pine Ridge. I paraphrase this a little bit because it came through scattered. How can people change things together? Then old poison wounds can be worked on together when we have made changes. So I think I get what you're saying, Will. How can we make the change, come together, make the changes that are needed, and then the people can work on old wounds? Because obviously governments or any of these other institutions are never going to do it for us. This is for people to heal with people. I don't know. I'll take a first shot at it, I guess. First of all, I'll bring up was right up the road from you, Will, Standing Rock. That was a lot of the energy in Standing Rock. We stood together, shoulder to shoulder. I know where we were camping, we had people around us from all over Europe. Of course, we had people from nearby in the res. And even though we couldn't speak the same language, we stood together and we made our stand there, working with LaDonna and some of the other leaders. And so there wasn't any really hostilities among us. I mean, I saw people who I know were enemies, including some who didn't like the fact that I used to be in these circles years ago. Stand together and hug and embrace and say, okay, we have to do this together. Does that mean everything's forgiven and everything's gone and done? No. But I think, Will, it's what you're saying. Let's deal with the main issues. And right now, we have a ton of issues, which we're making the decision whether we stay or go, we as humans. This is the time of the prophecies. And some of the people here know that and have learned all the prophecies. I think that's one thing the elders can bring. I think the big difference too is now there's a willingness. When I was younger, there wasn't. When I first started on this road, the elders would say, why don't these young people come and just listen to us anymore? And the young people would say, we don't want to sit here for 5 hours listening to you just spew at us. I see a huge change now. I see that both sides want to talk together. And that's perfect. That is what we need. Elders have a lot of wisdom. We certainly, I mean, one thing elders know real well is the mistakes we've made. We've made a lot of them. I know I have. Let's not repeat the same one. You guys can make some new ones. Yeah, all the elders have their hand up, by the way. So I think that's another big thing. It's that shift in reality. Charles, looks like you have your hand up.
Well, when it comes to the elders, when we were, growing up, that was like, why don't you come here and hear us? We had our own thing going at back then in the 60s, of course. But one of the things I could say is, as an elder, I'm also here to listen to the young people, what they're wanting or what they're needing, okay? Because it's their time, like I've said before, their time is now. What they're looking for, what they're needing. Because actually, as an elder, my brother, we have all been there as young people ourselves, okay? So the elders were young, the young people were at one time, all right? So it's also important to guide the young people and walk with them, yes. But as elders, we need to listen to the young people too, because now is their time. Their journey starts now. So in a lot of ways, it's us to be able to listen to the young people and try to help them on this walk and walk together in the benefit.
Tanya.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add to probably plays into both of these questions a little bit, but something that I've heard someone else mention as well. I think it's just so important right now to foster inclusivity versus the having the other and being against one another. So much division in the world right now, and it's more visible than it has. I think. I don't know if it's necessarily more there, but it's more visible and it's definitely being promoted. And so I think to counter that, we really need to come together. I think it's a time of coming together, bridging gaps between old and young, between rich and poor, between different races, and really is all about, someone else said it, about listening as well. And that's the only way I think we can come to true inclusion and equality, is to listen more, speak less, and really pay attention to what everybody else's needs are and where we intersect and where our mutual goals are, and needs are, because I think at the fundamental, like basic level, they kind of are the same no matter who we are, right? We all want to be loved. We all want to be in community. We all want essentially the same things, and it's covered up by all these additional stuff that comes at us, at each one of us in a different way, in different cultures. And the coming together, I think, is one of the big things that is needing to happen right now. And I think it also starts within us. Everything starts within ourselves, and to take the time to connect with nature, to take the time to be at peace ourselves before we can take it to other people, before we can connect with other people, I think is so key, because we can do all this work and go out, and if we make ourselves crazy in the process, it doesn't really work, right? So it's so important to keep taking care of ourselves in the process and to really connect with nature. And somebody was speaking about permaculture. I think it was two people actually speaking about permaculture and dealing with that and nature in general. I feel like that's a really important piece right now, is for people to get out in nature and to really connect with the earth again, to understand what that means, to understand the connection between humans and nature and the earth, because it's just cannot be separate. And we're seeing all the separation that's been happening. We're seeing the results of that right now, and it's not pretty. So I think coming back to it, I mean, how many people, I don't know, go into a supermarket today and don't even know where the food is coming from, right? Or how it is produced, or how it comes to grow. And it's the saddest thing. I think those are basic things that everybody needs to know. So I feel like I'm jumping all over the place, but I do think those are really important things that individually each one of us can do.
Awesome. Let's go back to Nina a minute and see if we're answering her question, or is there more to it? I just want to double down on what Tanya's saying. Part of my first answer to you, Nina, was nature, 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 nature. Everybody needs to get out there.
And I too, I'm so glad you said that, Tanya, because I was holding that from both Nina, your question, and I heard it in Will's question about the poison wounds we carry, and that we have to work on that once we get together and make the changes. And I say, no, we need to be working on that now. So I really appreciated your bringing that in. That's my experience. We're on fire. We want to change the world. We want to create the new. We have to start with self-care and be gentle with ourselves. And it's like, and as we come together, we can get more support on that. But it only takes sometimes one other person to sit and to hear what's hard on our hearts, and to find some mentoring or some support for that. And also, in the absence of another person, to lie down on Mother Earth and ask her to take the trauma and the pain that's stored up, that might be making your journey hard. So I just think that also allowing ourselves that connection with nature, joy, music, dancing, we're dealing with such serious things that sometimes we can get so intense with it. And it's like having to balance that with coming into our bodies and our senses, and finding something to connect with in pleasure or joy, and to ask for that healing. So, and that's an ongoing journey, but it is so important. And somebody in the circle the other day said, self-regulate yourself so that we can come together to co-regulate. And if you need help with that, there are people out there that will respond and sit with you. So.
Thank you. Mr. Brock.
Well, I want to see love, peace, and harmony around the world among all our people. But seriously, folks, it's no coincidence where we are right now. It's no coincidence what's going on right now on the world stage. We can have all these lovey-dovey things, I'm going to call them, just for a quick term. We can have beautiful, intentional community if we're separate. and we go create that in some other land. What's going on right now is totally intentional. I mean, 13 millennia since the fall of Atlantis. The stuff that's going on in our society is no coincidence. And, you know, I'm very happy to be woken up 4 years ago in certain ways. I've done dark shadow work. I carry owl medicine. I actually enjoy working in the darkness of what each one of us chooses to hide, repress, and deny. And that's what we're being woken up to now. And until we get a grip on that political aspect that operates our country, all these beautiful wishes that we have are not going to come to fruition. I believe they're going to come. Yes, they're going to come. But we got to go through a lot more darkness before we begin to see enough light within our communities to be able to spread that light. There is so much healing going on right now. Us, in this circle, healing each other, healing our brothers, healing our sisters, being there for each other. This is exactly what we need. But we need this on a massive scale, which is going to take removal of darkness that's within our society. And I believe it's not that far away. I truly do. But I also, you know, as a warrior, I'd be unwise to recognize the fact that it may get a lot darker before the veil's removed enough to see the light for the majority of Mother Gaia to be healed. I just wanted to throw that in there, that I have a lot of work to do. And I recognize that each one of us has a lot of work to do to support each other and to lighten our own loads and become the best person we can be. So drink more water. I just want to throw that in.
And you're right. You're joking, but you're right. I'm drinking so much water, I'm turned into a fish. So this is interesting, because I guess I would come down on a little bit of what each of you is saying, and I'll read something from Grandmother on Pine Ridge in a minute. Yeah, of course, we always have our own inner healing we need to do. But respectfully, I would say, as they talked about these times of prophecy, there's no more time to sit around just healing ourselves. That's over. We've been doing that forever and forever. Now we have to work on circle. And part of that is doing self. And also remembering, when we work on the circle, we work on ourself. When I work to heal the circle, when I sit with you, Nina, and we go back and forth and I help you, I'm helping me. If it's a circle of 10 and I put my piece in, I'm helping 10. I'm one of the 10. So I think that's really critical. We've done too much I, especially in the Western world. Right now, there's no time for I. There's time for we and us. And a lot of people know that. A lot of us are waking up. I agree with a lot of what Brock said, except I'd say we're right in the heart of the chaos right now. I think we're actually moving towards the light. We're about as dark as it's going to get. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope not. The way my teachers told it, what I'm seeing right now is what they said would be bottom. I even see strange clues, and I don't mean any disrespect in this, but I was driving the other day and I heard, as these fires were tearing through Oregon, and I have friends in Oregon, like Daphne I mentioned, one of the towns in Oregon burned to the ground. The name of that town was Phoenix. And so I went, whoa, the Phoenix just burned to the ground. One of the signs that it's over, and now we start to rebuild. And so I sent blessings and love and healing to all those people who were in Phoenix, because to me, that was a sign. I don't think people needed to be killed and homes burned down to give the sign, but it happened because those fires are happening. So why not make it in an area named for the bird that had a crash? And so I look at those things and I hear those signs. Not everything's a sign, but that one, of course, was to me pretty clear. So grandmother, because she's kind of right on this track, and this came before we started this, there is no old or young, male or female for the now. There is darkness we need to beat out with light. The youngers, she may mean the young ones, will need to lead in this with our support, I think. They feel good light stronger. I don't know. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
Charles? Go ahead.
And to let to go with grandmother here about the young people, right? To sit here and listen from Pine Ridge that you have 7 young people that are there listening, 7 or 8 people, right? The young people, these young people that sat on Pine Ridge and that are listening to our voices right now, these are the future leaders of Pine Ridge. These could be our future. These are the future of the Lakota people there. The young people are always the future. So we have possible future leaders, okay, for their people, for their Oyate. So that's great. So, as far as the male and the female, as far as the man is concerned, the left side of our brains, where our heart is the venom side of ourselves. Okay. So we are male and female both in many ways, So it is the young people right now that are bringing this out, that you see black, white, yellow, red, all of us, all the sacred colors are out walking together in these marches and doing these things for people. Okay. So she's right on. Grandmother is right on right there. So, they have that, the young people have that light that is shining right now. So it's a big move, but I totally agree with grandmother on that aspect. I totally do.
And just for a light moment, while Charles was talking, Frank typed in, does anyone want fry bread? So everybody listening, yeah, we all have our hands up. Just sit back for a minute, close your eyes, and enjoy the taste of some good fry bread.
As the song that I recorded off a ZZ Top parody, I'm a fool for your fry bread, I believe. So yeah, I kind of got that too.
So Nina and Tanya had their hands up. One of you want to go?
Yeah, I just really want to express my gratefulness for this medicine. I just received like of medicine from you all. Really grateful for that. Yes, I'm just soaking that in, and I guess just a follow up with my engagement with Holly. She's the one who I know from the low income community. For some reason, this past few weeks leading up to the Upconvergence, because we usually hang out together and go to nature. That's actually because we are trying to connect to nature. And growing up, she was never exposed to that, which is like mind-boggling to me. Like they never had a time usually to go out in nature. So we decided to intentionally put that in our schedule. But for some reason, this few weeks leading up to now, we didn't have the opportunity to do that. A lot of things were breaking around us. Our cars are breaking up, or everything around us. So it's just was weird that everything decided to break up during this time. So that probably is one of the reasons why she's not feeling well at this moment. And another thing that I wanted to bring up, I think the main message I received from you all, and even I guess from my intuition as well, but you all clarified it so well for me, is the most important thing is being there with her at this moment, like just walking with her right now with what she's feeling, and that's the light. So I that was really profound for me to really have that clear in my mind at this moment. And for me, also being called to be here to reach out to other people as well, is another thing. Just also clarifying why I'm here, because at first I didn't really know why I feel called to be here, you know. So like you said, Jim, it's time to be in a circle with people and actually do the work together, and also helping us in that process. And the last thing, another question I have, if you all are ready to explore another one, is if the elders have a question to the young people, since Charles has been saying that they have the light, that you can walk with them, or us. So I wonder if the elders have any questions specifically for people, the 7 youth that are watching, and other people in this Zoom room as well, if the elders have any question.
Nina, I have one thing I can say to you, sister. Okay, because I have listened to what you've been talking about about your sister. Okay, and about what's going on with you. We have been here talking about the elements: fire, water, earth, air. Okay, always understand within yourself, and I'm talking about everyone that is hearing my voice, everyone, all of us, every human being has every element in them. Okay, here is the earth in itself. Okay, what you speak and how you speak it is the air. Okay, the water is in the veins of your blood, also the tears from your eyes. That's the cleansing. Okay, and the fire is your passion and what you stand for and what you believe, and your beliefs and how strong they may be for your culture, or how you stand for these things. So you're all of it. That circle with every bit of it. You're every bit: fire, water, air, earth. You are these elements. And work together with each other and allow all that to focus togetherness, unity. That's how that works. So you are all of it.
Thank you for that. That's why I love being here. Thank you so much.
Tanya.
Yeah, something that was sparked from the earlier conversation of if this is just the beginning of more darkness, or are we in the middle of it, or I don't have an answer, but I did read somewhere the other day that in order to have a critical mass to bring about change, we need to reach about 1% of the population. And I don't know if this is true or not, but I've read it more than once. And so that is something that really gives me hope, because while 1% is a lot of people, it seems to me that that is doable. And it seems to me that we're well on our way to achieving that, because a lot more people are standing up for what they think is not right, whatever that may be. And a lot more people are getting involved, and a lot more people are connecting. So to me, I feel really inspired these days, because I do see so many more people standing together and speaking up, and it does seem like an achievable goal.
That's a good point. And you know, a lot of the prophecies talk about that as well. They talk about how many do we need in order to bring the light together and make these changes and start moving ahead. I don't know if I've ever seen percentages. It's not like you have to be more than half. No, it's a small number, but it's a lot of people. And I think we're well beyond 1% myself. I don't know what that number is, but I'm watching the shifts. Brock knows the number. No, I'm just kidding. I'm watching the shifts, and I'm seeing more people stand up. I'm seeing more people speak up. I'm watching the movements, and yeah, right now we have this pandemic that's crimping us a little bit, not a lot. I'm listening to the young people in the groups I sit on, in the Future Friday groups and all, And they're not worried that we can't be out in the streets right now. They're simply looking for other ways to do it. And so I'm watching the number get higher and higher and higher. This isn't going to be a one-step thing, I don't think. Here in the U.S., we have a huge election coming up in 6 weeks, whatever it is. That's not going to change things. It'll make things better, but it's still a Band-Aid. We have to move really into the light. And I think that's where we're headed, Tanya. I know when we spent time in Colorado, we had folks in our group who had almost never been outdoors, if you remember. And that's always fun to watch. In my time there, I taught kids from schools in Denver who had never been in a park, and that's in the Rocky Mountains. And so all these shifts are starting to happen. We're seeing we have got to pay attention to the Earth Mother because she is telling us what to do, and we better listen. It's not the other way around. We got to lose that ego element. So thanks for bringing that in. That's a key one. Yeah, Maya.
Yeah, I was thinking in terms of a question for the young and just listening to what I'm integrating a lot of pieces here of what Brock said. I just keep thinking of Buckminster Fuller's statement, if we want to change the way things are happening, we don't fight against it or try to change it. We create a new structure and something new that will make the old obsolete. And I remember struggling one time with a deep, dark night of the soul with this darkness that had come to me and struggling with this dark spirit. And finally going to a teacher, a very wise teacher who said to me, Maya, you're caught up in this fighting against this darkness. You turn over here to the light. That's what you came here for, is to work for the light. Put your energy there. Trying to figure out how this dark thing is winning or whatever. Just go for the light. So what I would want to ask to all young people is, what are your ideas for a new way of bringing people together, a new way of governing, a new way of us coming together over our differences? And that I'd love to hear. You know, we have our ideas, we have our structures that we've been creating, and the co-creators, convergence, different things. But I would love to hear from young people all your wild ideas, anything of how to bring people together and your visions for that new world and the new structures that will support us better. So I just put that out to all young folks. Thank you. Catherine and Magajo, I'm glad you came back. Did you lose internet connection?
We did. It seems to happen pretty consistently about this point in the call. So we're back. I think we're good. Good to be here.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention also, you know, the importance of what everybody's speaking to, you know, these times that are so catalytic in terms of the work that we're not only internally needing to do. You know, I remember sitting on a Vision Quest 1981 and everything outside came inside. I was the murderer. I was the one being murdered. And so it showed me that the work isn't outside, it's inside. And as we understand ourselves connected with the collective psyche, we know that all that's part of us. There's no separation. So the work is really why we stepped out of the dominant culture 50 years ago and said, let's go create the new, without being in some kind of polarization and reinforcing the illusion of separation from the creator. And so that's been our work, you know, for the last 50 years, is really, you know, creating sanctuaries for the young people. We call it the sun-eyed children of the marvelous dawn. Mm-hmm. And that comes out of Sri Aurobindo's canto poems of Savitri. And and so our work is a whole system from conscious birthing to conscious dying. And within that, how do we create social structures that actually alchemizes that illusion of lack and separation? So it's I just wanted to, you know, share how important these calls are and the medicines that we're carrying. And In 1996, we were came with the White Buffalo Woman's Pipe came out with Orville Looking Horse, and we were going to the UN to give documents on the rights of the child and so on. We did about 50 events around the country, but a couple of the kids were from Mexico, who was Chuta Scott's father, and our Earth organization, Earth Guardians. But we drove into Pine Ridge, and we had all these goods, and the kids were from the Condor. And the elders, when they did the dance for the elders said, "This is the return of the 7th generation." And they saw the convergence of the coming together of the condor and the eagle, and the white buffalo was born, in Minneapolis or in Minnesota, I think it was, and that's when the pipe came out. And it's just so self-organized. There's such a mythological journey, that we're all playing in, and to find the coherence of right relations. Time to gather. It's time to open the hearts and gather, find our tribes, ground out, get our seeds in the ground. That's what we're doing here. We got right now 6 people that have been on a 4-day quest up on the mountain. And we got doulas up being trained for birthing. It's putting it into action and, speaking to the needs of the ancestors and the ancestral wounds that we all come from. And so I give my blessings and my mana'o and my mana to a vision of the future of celebration. As the Hopi say, it's time to let go of the shore, find out who you're next to, who's steering the ship, and who's putting their finger in the water so we know where the hell we're going. So we got to, at that level, we're coming together in deep reverence and bowing before the goddess mother, Sophia, the mother that holds us all. So I just wanted to get my mana'o in there and just say thank you all for doing the incredible work that it takes, to alchemize the shadow, that deep inner work of shame. And I got it on my 72nd birthday, said, I'm so loved by my family and by my brothers and sisters out there. And I said, I deflect your love. I can't open to loving myself. And I said, that's the gateway for me personally, is the love of self internally. And that's the deeper work, and everything flows out of that, that commitment to serve the greater whole, the greater pattern that's emerging. So thank you everybody for listening. And I love what we're doing here.
Thank you. So well said.
Aho, grandfather.
Aho.
I hear the both and. We've been holding different pieces. It's like both the inner work and the outer work together, because they are one and the same. And when I work one-on-one with clients in the healing, I say every step you take, it ripples out. It affects the collective. And then to come into circle, and when we heal in our circles, it goes inside. It's both and. When we help heal the waters, cleanse the waters, we're cleansing our own emotional trauma. And it's both and. So this is that time. Jung talked about the sign of maturity is the ability to embrace ever greater and greater paradox. And I think that's what he meant, to understand the both and at the same time.
I think you're right. I know my brother Bear Cloud in Sedona, when we lived there, we were part of his lodge. And every lodge, he started with that. Whatever I do to the mother, I do to myself. Whatever I do to myself, I do to the mother. Whatever I do to my brother or sister, I do to myself. And so on. And that always opened a incredibly powerful healing lodge. It can't be separation now. We have to be done with separation. Thank you, Mikasa. That was beautiful.
Thank you, brother.
Rock.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw a couple things in. My heart belief, and this I believe to be true, is all that is in divine order presently. And Tanya, what you mentioned, we're way beyond 1%. way beyond. It's done. It's done. The new world is right around the corner. So, Jim, no, I don't have an exact percentage, but I would take a poke at the bear and say 15 to 25%. That's pretty good numbers out of 7 billion people. I would think that people are waking up, and much gratitude to you youngers. And I've learned as an elder so much from you youngers. I believe that you're all blessed. You come here like totally in one piece, whereas some of us olders are missing a couple things we've had to work on. But you are the children of the light, and you are full of wisdom. And as my uncle would always say to me when I don't understand or when I'm in doubt, he'd just say, pray harder. Pray harder. And of course, the last one, and what I know to be true is we don't need to look outside of ourselves. You have it within. That's why I know the new world coming is going to be beautiful. I've even had a few glimpses of it, and I'm pretty impressed on what's coming down the line. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Brock. Some of my Aborigine friends some years back, when I was still in Colorado, they also had the same thing. And I've heard it in other cultures. Of course, they're all about dreaming in their way. We dream reality first, and then we simply walk it out. For them, the dream was already complete, and we would get through this, and we would do everything that's needed. Not that it would be easy, and it's not. And when I remember when they said that the first time, it was like being hit in the gut, because I'd never felt that way, never thought of it, but I knew it was so. And so, yeah, I'm with you. I hear that. And Nina, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. And that goes also to the folks up there in Pine Ridge as well. Now Nina has her hand up. I think she's going to get us. Okay.
No, I just, yeah, I love learning from this circle. Always, I feel elevated and just a lot of wisdom. So thank you so much. Just as regards to the question about what, at least from my perspective as one of the youth, what I envision, also based on like my engagement with community and listening to other people of like the world or future is, or now, is yeah, it was definitely, first of all, it was definitely a journey to even get to this place. Definitely coming here in one piece is a miracle. But to answer that question, it's you already said it. We just want to remember who we really are. We want to embody that. We want joy, which is like, I know a lot of people agree is a basic human right. A lot of people don't even experience that much in their lives, and I've seen that. And just being our well-being being the thing that's most important, I think is how I see like a really good future, what a good future really looks like. And to add to a little complexity to how hard it might be to realize that vision is just sharing, for example, like with my experience with some people. There was one moment where I was with Holly, and she's okay with sharing her stories with me. We went into nature, we walked, and she felt good. At that moment, she didn't feel the need to smoke, because that's one of the things she's trying to get rid of and change in her body, because she does want to respect her body more. And then we went to Panera Bread to get some salad, feed ourselves with healthy food. And then that took about most of the day. And then at like, I think about 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., she was like, wait a minute. nothing bad has happened yet today. Like, wow. Like she was so amazed that nothing bad happened at that day, because she was so not used to it. And she was like, she felt like she was just waiting for a shoe to drop at any moment after realizing that. And she was almost teary-eyed, just realizing that the whole most part of the day went well for her. And so a lot of people don't even know that that reality exists, for those who are not yet awakened or aware. And another is, even if they have glimpses of it, a lot of them are having right now, like a lot of them are having a hard time giving themselves permission to even be free. And another thing is, I also notice a lot of people don't realize the power that they have to create this new world. So those are the things that I see in my community. We know a lot of us know what we want. We want this world that really serves us, our authentic self. Being connected to Mother Earth is who we really are. But the path to get there for some people is a little. A lot of it is coming from within, yes, but it's like also figuring out like how to get that out of people as well. So the chains within themselves is the thing that I really see and hope that could really be broken, so that we can actually, as youth, build this world that is really serving us and our souls and our spirit.
I'd love to jump in. I love what you just shared, Nina. And Kash was just saying, encourage you to connect with Earth Guardians. Would be, I think you'd find a beautiful connection there. But I was just thinking about a call I was on yesterday as part of the whole UP Convergence on a generative future. And we were talking about what it means to embody a new culture. And as I was listening to you just share, it's just some of the things that we addressed, besides all the wisdom that's already been spoken in our circle here, was about self-responsibility, taking self-responsibility. And when you were saying, a lot of folks that you're in connection with don't necessarily know how to like really try to create or help bring in the new world that's emerging, and self-responsibility and moving beyond the victim and the perpetrator way of experiencing life really puts us much more in the driver's seat. So I think that's where, when we really acknowledge that, the potency of our thoughts and just the way that we see things, and where we're creating separation because of our judgments or our projections on others or whatever, that when we can bring that into wholeness, that then we're much more on a path of creating
and healing.
And and it's a great healing journey when we move up the spiral out of being the victim of our situation, of our country, of our politics, of whatever it might be. Because when we're there, we're pretty powerless. We're pretty, so just felt to pass that on to you. And I also had a question for both you and Tanya. And I know when we popped off, I'm not sure where the conversation went, but I would love to hear from the two of you what you need from the elders. Like, how can we best serve you?
I can respond to that. For me, I feel like I'm getting that already. A lot of it is within the circles here. I think this is for sure what I need, is just the input from elders and hearing what they have to say on all kinds of topics. So I feel like I've been getting a lot of that lately, which has been tremendously helpful for me to keep going and take my my next steps.
Thank you.
Yeah, for me is the same answer. Even though I try to listen to my intuition and step up, it's still a work in progress with me. Like, it's still fuzzy at many times. So it really helps that there are people with more experience, like kind of explaining it more, and just telling, okay, these are the resources that you can look into. These are the pathways or avenues. These are the wisdom teachings from the elements. So that really helps a lot. So yeah, thank you all for that.
Thank you, Nina.
I wonder, Jim, if young folks in Pine Ridge are responding.
It's coming now. Frank's putting it out on here as I.
Great.
Thank you. Yeah, we're in the same. Okay, here's here's the beginning of it. Here, Catherine, they say, support them when they act. Help them with their fear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Trust.
That deepening the trust, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of fear many times.
And for all of us.
Mhm.
I know just because we're older, I get up some days and I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And I'm petrified and I have to deal with it and I have to look in and stand up and go take the next step. Yeah, there's no, I'm only talking for me. There's no magic cure for me either. I'm just another two-legged human. I've been around longer, so maybe I have more ways to deal with it, but it hits all of us. I know some of the young people that are really getting hit hard. And I'm just so sad when I see the suicides and everything else going on, especially on the reservations.
I know some of the young people that I'm working with now in my healing practice, an aspect of the fear, and I'm now well equipped to help them with it because I struggle with this my whole life, is fear around trusting their own intuition, trusting their own signals from within, and trusting sharing their own ideas, their own perspective of things. And that fear is probably fear of judgment, fear of that they're not correct, or many things. But that self-doubt, I think, is a version of fear that I've struggled with my whole life. And so I have a lot of compassion for that now. And I see that, and it's like anything that I can offer to work with someone to really learn to trust the signals that are coming from within your body, your heart, your mind, and to find the safe circles to share in, because this is, yeah, this is so essential. And I have a deep compassion for that. But it's like all of our medicines are needed, all of the perspectives, and each one is unique. And if you don't share it, the circle will not have it. So
Thanks. Yeah, that's absolutely good advice. Here's the rest of the note from them up there. Fear of tomorrow and fear of doing something wrong. Well, again, I think we all have some fear around tomorrow.
what,
joined us.
I know, I saw. I'll just finish this up.
brother, if I can answer a little bit of that.
Go ahead.
As far as fear of tomorrow, I've done it all my life. I don't know what's coming tomorrow until it gets here. So but when he talks about fear of doing something wrong, accidents happen. People do accidentally do wrong things. They don't mean to, but that all comes back with, if I can go to someone that did something wrong and went, look, brother, it's an accident. It'll get better. Let me help. Let me see what I can do to help with this. Okay, we can work this out together. That's another thing, that the together thing. But that's just being human in many ways,
And there's a very important teaching right now, as I call one of the silver linings in this COVID cloud. I do a lot of work with men and women in all gender circles on cognitive dissonance. And this is systemic and structured in our society right now. Like, it's cranked up full blast. So the true answer to that is, where is the true answer? The true answer for me is found within. What do I discern as right or wrong? What do I discern as fear pornography, which is being thrown at us by the truckload? So this is a very important learning time within that COVID cloud on cognitive dissonance. Should I stay or should I go now? Oh,
which we're looking at as a species now.
yes.
I'm gonna drop us back for a moment here and shift in a different direction. I want to introduce Veronica, who just came on. It's given us a little bit of time, which is great because she's working to get her own conference going. Some of you know her from the last go around. Veronica is the head of Wise Humanity, which I'm really impressed by. Veronica, our friends over here, Desha and Catherine, they started Earth Guardians. So you guys have some things in common. Why don't you tell us who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about the conference, because it's going to follow right on the heels of this for anybody who wants to get involved.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you, some of you again, and nice to meet you, Brock and Catherine. And yeah, I'm in my office, which is my house in Uruguay. I'm right now with my daughter Fauna and my son Lawrence and my friend and co-creator Ezequiel. Maybe they dare to come later and say hello too. And I'm very touched today, actually, that you tell me that today you are talking about Earth Guardians, and because exactly today I had like a deep, I went into deep contact with this, with the Earth and how much we have been demanding from her, feeling it within me, and how, and this is not talking about so much about the event, but I mean, it's part of the event also, but I'm so much in contact with it right now that I had to lie in the grass and I fell asleep for 1 hour, facing downwards, like hugging the earth, because I felt I was demanding from myself as much as we, here's my daughter. So as much as we demand from Mother Earth. So it was really, I feel very touched, and yeah, I'm very happy this circle is happening. And yeah, I live in Uruguay in a community, and the Wise Humanity Summit has been born from a presential event about parenting that later became all generations, because for me now parenting doesn't have to do with father and mother, it has to do with the full tribe, it has to do with oneself taking care of their inner child and taking care. I think parent means to take care, so I think we are all parents. And this is how it started to be conceived, Wise Humanity. Wise Humanity now is, he became a own being and it has 4 parts. And the first part is about universal wisdom. And it's like we are going into journey of exploring what are we part of, what we belong to, like love and the essence of being human, gratitude. We explore our place on the web of life, and this is with a lot of support from the teachers to do this journey. Then the part 2 is the wisdom within, which is more like once you find your place in the web of life, okay, and now what about my journey as human? So we go with rites of passage through most of the transition of the most important ones. First learning what is a rite of passage, the 3 phases, you know, and then going from birth into childhood, into teenager, into adult, sexual initiation, evolutive relationships. We also do menarche and spermarchy, which are 2 topics that people don't talk so much, but I think it supports us a lot in understanding the masculine and the feminine. In it starts of being creatress, you know, being creator and creators. And then the andropause and the menopause as well, like when we also have a lot of hormonal movement and we go deeper into what manhood and womanhood and other things. And then the gate of elderhood and death. Those are all the like what we explore, the transitions we explore, we find the wisdom in them. Then the part 3 is the wise we, and it's like, okay, we are connected with what we're part of, we're connected to our own journey and empathize with other people and like feel the full tree. And now we go into finding our gift to share. So we all, like nature, we share our gifts, and interconnected empathy and collective awakening. And so it's more like about us. No, por favor, ¿puedes dejar eso? And then we go into the part 4, which is steps to take for a prosperous future on Earth, which is more like our relationship to teenagers, our relationship to children, to the water, to Mother Earth, our relationship to to animals. So it's more about how we relate to all around us, and to understand it and see what we can do. So this is more or less the content of the event, and yes, it's coming up next week. On Monday is the opening ceremony.
And how do they find you, Veronica?
Yeah, so if you would like to join and register, you can find me on the wisehumanitysummit.com, and also on Facebook, Wise Humanity Summit. There is more information also, because there will be like 5 talks every day. If you register for free, for example, you can join 5 talks every day, and it's in order of like the process. The journey has an order. Yes, and you can register there and you will receive emails also inviting you to lives, because I first was thinking to have just the talks, but I see how important it is to integrate all the journey. So I would like to do lives every day. I also felt very inspired with Mary, that she shared last time something about the water and how she was keeping the water throughout the app convergence. Yeah, I would love to do, if you could come and in the opening ceremony and suggest this, and also Guardians of the Earth and Guardian. I feel like it's a time to unifying everything, like we as humans, like races, genders, religions, everything, like just merge with nature and with the elements, and yeah, and also the events. Like I love, being here. Then is the peace conference. Then you finish, the peace conference finish, and then it's like Wise Humanity starts, and Jim Garrison from Humanity Rising is gonna join also for a day, and then you are joining, and I feel like, yes, we need to come all of us together, because then it's like, unity starts with the, with also this event that gather people, and we can get, I don't know, we can, I mean, I'm feeling very inspired, very tired also, because it's so much. I'm so happy you're here. I feel supported when I'm with you in this circle.
Good. Awesome.
Thank you.
And Veronica wasn't here, but to listen to her, she must have been here, because she just said the same things. So thank you. We're getting short of time. We have something coming up at 6. So I think what we'll do, Maya always likes to do a poem, and they're always excellent. So I think we need a poem, and then as our elder, Mikasa, would you do a closing prayer?
Yeah.
Okay, so poem first, and then we'll move to our elder.
Thank you all for coming here, and the youth in the circle continue to think about, reflect on what kind of help, what kind of support you would need for the elders. That was the last question, Veronica, that you weren't here for, but just invite you to continue and to reach out, because we want to be here. We are here for you. So every circle, I usually have some of my poems around and some other people's poems, and something will call me based on what we were speaking. And this is a fairly short one of mine that I will read. It's called Deeper Than Destruction. If I can take the dark with open eyes and not squint or turn away as great gouging machines tear open the earth, Whole species dwindle down to a tattered few, and brown-skinned children with swollen bellies drink brown water. Perhaps I will see some ancestral message of reassurance emerge from this darkness, reminding me that the roots of life go deeper than destruction, like the green spirals that always push through layers of ash after the wildfires. Perhaps, like the great sequoia trees, I will stand my ground, never stop reaching for the sky, never stop scattering my seeds, never stop drinking in the fading light. Perhaps, like the great sequoia trees, I will stand my ground, never stop reaching for the sky, never stop scattering my seeds, never stop drinking in the fading light. Makasha?
Thank you, my beloved.
Mm.
Let us just take a deep breath right now together to take in just what was shared in our heart of hearts. And as we rest in the cauldron of the Great Spirit, we come together in breath as community in communion with the Great Spirit's muse, ever dancing us in polarity so that we can have this call together here and serve the greater pattern that's emergent at this time with open hearts and love and compassion and kindness and respect for all relations. And in the light of the love of the great, great Spirit, we rest in the womb of Sophia Mama, the great mother, the mother that holds us all in her spin and embrace in gravity upon this earth. We are so loved, and we open to that love as family, as carriers of the medicine and the bundles that we carry in our hearts serve the greater emergence of a new humanity. As we plant our seeds along the way, let us cry for ourselves and each other, knowing we are here to surrender into the love that we truly are. And I carry this forth in my heart, and I thank you, beloved, for all that is given and all that is shared and all that is uplifted and inspired and quickened as we surround ourselves with each other.
Mm.
Aho.
Aho, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Another incredible circle. I'll send something when Veronica lets me know exactly when she wants that wisdom circle, and we'll move this energy into that. And we'll just keep moving it. This circle's been going on now for about 9 months, and it just keeps growing and spreading. And it's a beautiful thing to see. Obviously, we're doing something right for it to keep growing this way, and for all of you to come up. It's wonderful to see some of you I haven't seen for a while. I now have the itch to get to New Mexico, spend some time there. So we'll see what the spring brings.
All right.
So thank you to everybody.
Thank you, Jim and Maya, and everyone.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for offering your support also. Here I have some of my support. This is the
All right,
part of the tribe.
There's your team.
Yeah, here's my team. My son is upstairs and the cats are around.
Oh, you need the cat.
Carry that beautiful wisdom on.
Yes. Yes, there's generations right there.
Yeah.
Much love.
Much love.
Much love.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Jim, you and I should stay on and everybody else can leave because we'll just use the same room for the next event.
I'll leave so I get my recording.